You're not? Okay, you ready? Okay, I think we're ready, y'all. Good evening. This is January 14th, 2025. It is just a second off of 7 p.m. This is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Appreciate y'all being here. It's our first meeting of the year, and it's been 5 weeks since we last met. We have two somewhat new aldermen, and one of them, I'm looking over here at Don Ward because he's going to be surprised at what I'm about to say. One of them is going to provide the prayer tonight, and it's going to be Alderman Evans. So please join Alderman Evans, and then I'll lead us in the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the day you made for us. And Lord, we come to you as servants. And Lord, just pray that you provide us wisdom and the knowledge to know about what we should do here in the city. We thank you for a great city of Hendersonville. And Lord, I ask that you be with the Dallenbach family and with all of our firefighters, and Lord, that they are grieving. And Lord, I pray that you be with them and comfort that family and comfort the team. Lord, we thank you for all those who serve our city so well and protect us and keep us safe. Be with us tonight. Lord, may our words, our comments be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I entertain a motion that we accept the agenda that was provided to you on the packet. We have a motion from Alderman Goodwin, a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion or proposed changes to the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda for tonight based on what was provided to you in your packet, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Next, we have presentations. Our Parks Director, Andy Gilly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Good evening. I have the pleasure tonight to congratulate the winners of our Festival of Lights competition that was held throughout the month of December. I think most of you all are aware we started 5 or 6 years ago putting out a map of all the best Christmas light displays in the city, in addition to really upping our Christmas game at Memorial Park and having those light displays there and having a great display right there by the fountain. Just to let you all know, we have kind of the data on that. This year there were about 13,000 cars that drove through Memorial Park throughout the month of December. Some were there probably to play tennis and go to the playground, but I have a feeling a lot were there to go to see the lights, which is great. And also we know that approximately 60 to 70,000 people viewed our map that we posted on Facebook. So that's been a good thing for the city. Been a great thing for social engagement and community involvement. I think we had over 35 houses on the list this year. We've now seen Gallatin start to kind of copycat us. If you go online to the city of Knoxville's Parks Department, you will see that they had a Festival of Lights this year. And when I watched the video, it looked just like they were driving through Memorial Park, to be honest. So we'll take the lead on that. And we have tonight with us some of the winners. Not all were able to be with us, but they'll be receiving a certificate from the city, as well as a $25 gift card from Ace Hardware, which they can go buy some more lights with for next year. Our best overall winner, and if you're here and I don't know it, please let me know. I don't think anybody's here for best overall. That was 111 Lawrence Way North. We appreciate their participation. A Neighborhood Harmony winner. Autumn Creek this year was the Neighborhood Harmony, and that is the neighborhood that kind of comes together and everybody is decorating their house. I guess Alderman Robertson, he must have had a great display there at the entrance to Autumn Creek. Reason for the season, kind of classic. You all know the reason for the season. I do, and I feel like most everybody in this room does as well. That was 1078 Avery Trace Circle. So congratulations to those folks. And I believe we have with us the folks that live at 102 Timberline. Is that correct? 102? Come on up. Get your certificate. They received the Most Lit Award, as you can see on the screen there. So let's congratulate them. You get a certificate. You want to go up there and get your picture made? That'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, there you go, right there. Thank you. Definitely the most lit. Look at it.
I think that meant when he was putting up.
Hey, that's
TVA appreciates.
yeah. If I'd have put up that many, I'd have had to be lit too, I think. Thank you all very much. Next we have, I believe, with us from 207 Faulkner, and representing in his jersey, the Clark Griswold Award. If you all would come up, get your picture made for the record. Congratulations, Mr. Griswold.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. Make sure you show that when you get your picture made. Which one's Cousin Eddie? And then you got Russ over there. That's good. Congratulations. Great job on that. Griswold Award goes to the ones that just go crazy, like Clark did, I guess. I hope it wasn't as crazy inside as his house was. And last but not least, a traditional award. This kind of goes to just the house that had just the best, just overall traditional Santa Claus and reindeer scene, and that was 99 Blue Ridge Trace. I think Mr. Patterson's here. Here he comes. Everybody give him a hand. Congratulations, sir. There you go. There you go. Don't spend it all in one place.
See how much I put into those lights? I better get a picture. And $25.
You get 2 pictures for your effort. Yeah.
Thank y'all, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Good to see you.
Thank you, you bet.
Thank you all very much for your support of this. It's been a really cool thing for the city. And like I said, people are starting to copy it, so we always like that when imitation is the best form of flatterization, right? So congratulations to all the winners. Thank you.
Thank you all.
I think you're Melody Watson. Could you come up and join me, please? Absolutely. There's a reason that I was able to pick her out, and it has to do something with the proclamation I'm getting ready to read. Whereas Melody Watson is a distinguished athlete, ballroom dancer, martial artist, and resident of Hendersonville, and remains very involved with her local community, and recently received a world record and world title in December of 2024 at the World Powerlifting Championship. And whereas Ms. Watson has been competing in powerlifting championships on a national and global scale for several years and achieved excellence as a world champion powerlifter 5 times, and whereas Ms. Watson has earned 2 Olympia gold medals for her participation in Olympia Pro powerlifting competitions and earned a second-degree black belt in Waterloo and served her community in public events, including the 2022 Sparkle Noel Fashion Show benefiting Make-A-Wish Middle Tennessee, and whereas Ms. Watson's powerlifting accomplishments through national and world competitions include 5 world records, and she is recognized as a USPA International Elite Lifter. Now, therefore, I, Jamie Clary, Mayor of the City of Hendersonville, do proclaim our appreciation to Melody Watson and encourage the citizens of Hendersonville to recognize our distinguished resident for sharing her time and talents with our community. And I would like for Nick to stand up here real quick. Nick Raphael is her pastor. He let me know about this, and I went on, just did a search, a Google search of her, and I was like, holy cow, how did we not know about this? So do you want to say a little bit and talk a little bit about your experience?
I don't have anything prepared, but I'd love to say
Oh,
something.
please do. Okay.
I really appreciate this. I'm just very blessed. God made this happen for me. I couldn't have done any of this without God. I mean, you're just a normal person, and then all of a sudden, God lines things up and puts them in your life, and when He blesses you, your job is to bless others. And so that's what we're here to do. So I really appreciate this. I don't know what to say. This hasn't ever happened before, but all the glory goes to God, and that's all I can say. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
This is
you.
yours. And Nick, thank you for letting us know about this.
Thank you
So-
so
He's
much.
going to get a picture together. There we go.
She could lift those weights.
So where should we look next? Okay, let's look. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
sorry.
Let's look at Natasha. There we go. Okay, and back over there. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Get bench press. I volunteer the mayor.
Very good. So no public hearings, no one minutes. Are we good? We're ready for minutes. Okay. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our December 10th meeting. So moved. We have a motion from Alderman Garza, a second from, a second from Alderman Garten. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. We have an abstention from Alderman Dixon. Any other abstentions? Okay. And then next, we have citizen comments. Let me read the rules here. Speakers must identify themselves by name and address. Public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes per person, which time is not transferable to other speakers. All comments are to be directed to the presiding officer, not to aldermen, city staff, or other members of the public. That means me. Comments must address issues, not individuals or personalities. Personal attacks shall not be tolerated. Comments may support or oppose particular issues or measures, but the motives of those with differing views shall not be questioned or attacked. Malicious comments will not be allowed. Speeches for or against particular candidates running for public office shall not be allowed. The ninth person to sign up is the first person actually to sign up, and that's Charles Kimbrough. We don't have 1 through 8 filled out, so you're first, Charles.
I was signed up mainly to speak about the roundabout because I figured at some point that may appear on the agenda tonight. I take it that's not going to happen, or?
We don't typically answer questions. I'll tell you this: it is certainly a possibility. So you might as well go ahead, and I think that it'll probably at least get mentioned. So feel free to go ahead.
I mean,
Yeah.
I am, did have some, questions, yes, but I know nobody can answer as far as, spending money to purchase property for a project that is not a sure thing. I know that there's other areas of the city that could use the money, frankly, and it's a lot of money. So I just, keep that in mind when you guys are voting on this. And the roundabout, of course, everybody keeps saying how important, how big it is, how important, there's still the public notice thing kind of bothers me that, something that is that important, and I'm told it's important, and it's got to happen, and we got to make this, and yet public notice. How many times has this been brought up, and how many times has there been public notice? It's not very even. Don't tell me the importance and then not put it out in front. That's all that I ask. And as far as that goes, in businesses, whenever there's a problem, manufacturing, whatever, people get some smart guy and come out there and say, find the root cause. What is the root cause of the problem that we're having, that we can't operate or get done what we want done? And they will go back to the beginning and they will figure out what causes it. And so now it appears that this roundabout is supposed to be the solution, and it's not. The problem is too much traffic. We all know that. Nobody can deny that it's just too much traffic on that road. And okay, so we can go in circles. But the awkward intersection there is a symptom of the problem. The root cause problem, which is too much traffic. It's, if there weren't so much traffic, we go from 2, bad accidents to 1. Okay. I mean, over the last 5 years, I just, let's attack, or I ask you, attack the problem. It's going to be very painful to do that. I understand what that means. I really do. Having to go to all those people, go down there, that's a big, big deal. I understand. But please understand, it's a big, big deal to me right now. And just because I'm only one or two doesn't mean it's not important to us. I mean, it's very, very important to us. And it is everything. It goes back to money. I'm going to be financially harmed. I mean, if you're okay with that, push it forward if you get a chance. But if you wouldn't have it done to you, you shouldn't do it to me. If you want to take a hit or if you want to write a check to me, maybe I'll be more agreeable. That's fine too. But, you know, it's not going to solve the problem. And you would be knowingly harming citizens that live just right down the road. Just take that into consideration whenever you make a decision about that.
Charles, thank you. Kara Kimbrough, Anderson Road.
Sorry, I'm sick. I'm here tonight to speak about the resolution on the agenda to approve the sale of property and right-of-way located near Drakes Creek Road. Eddie Robertson was recently quoted in the Hendersonville Standard talking about the adjustments to projects that need additional funding, Old Shackle Island and Walton Ferry intersection, and he stated it was a little over $1 million over what we had budgeted. He also states another focus is moving forward with the construction phase of the traffic light synchronization project and to fund any unexpected construction overruns in that project. It would appear the costs for these projects are somewhat uncertain and may require a lot of additional funding. I absolutely agree that these projects are very worthwhile endeavors, which would help the main issue in Hendersonville, traffic. These two projects definitely need to be funding. So my question is, does the city really have the funds to buy land from citizens for a roundabout project that will not help traffic and which may or may not even happen? It doesn't appear so. And saying that you're buying the property for future widening of the road can't be right. You would be paying a lot more money. You would be paying for a lot more property than would ever be needed to widen the road. It's a waste of taxpayer money. Not to mention, several aldermen have stated widening Drakes Creek Road is not a can of worms they're willing to open anytime in the near future. I was told that could be many years from now. I would think if you're an alderman and the ward you represent has roads that need repairs or attention, you might want to use available funds to take care of immediate needs instead of using taxpayer money to buy land for a possible future project. It's just good old-fashioned fiscal responsibility and part of the job you were elected to do. It was stated in the Public Works meeting last month that the city wants to go ahead and purchase the property to honor their word. That sounds really nice, and I like how some of you pick and choose where and when to have integrity. Those same people told us not to worry about eminent domain. Because the city had never used it as an answer to a problem, and they didn't intend to. Where was the integrity when some of you tried to sneak the roundabout on this agenda twice at the county commission? Then it was added to the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting with no public notice. Nothing about the proposed roundabout project was handled properly, and there was never any public notice. We would have never known about any of this at the county or city level if it weren't for kind people with integrity and a conscience calling to alert us. The board doesn't seem to really follow any rules, and there's a short supply of ethics and honor among some of you. It's been disheartening for me to discover the way the city has conducted business. And I heard a rumor that you intend to add the roundabout project as an amendment to the resolution tonight. I would hope that's not the case. By normal rules, this project was voted down in November, and it wouldn't come up on an agenda for a year without major changes. But how can the city even afford this project? Supposedly, the ARPA funds had to be allocated by December 31st. Someone mentioned there might be a way for the city to be reimbursed by ARPA funds after the fact. Really? Does the city have a couple $1 million they can front in the hope that all goes well and they get reimbursed? It doesn't appear so. And that's fairly risky when the court system and construction are involved. I know this. I work at a law firm. It's risky. Once again, if you're an alderman and your ward has issues that haven't been taken care of, please refer to the term fiscal responsibility. And I shouldn't have to say this, but sneaking something as important as taking property from citizens via condemnation is a really big deal, and public notice should be given. I'm only here tonight because somebody called me. I didn't know that this would happen or it was even a possibility. I'm asking you all, including those of you who are for the roundabout, to take a good look at how this has been handled and how it's being handled. Search your souls regarding the basics of right and wrong and display honor and integrity. Please vote no. If you wouldn't want this done to you, then you shouldn't be willing to do it to me. And could you please just put a stop sign back up at the exit
Here are
of
30
Durham
seconds.
Farms to slow down the people coming out of that neighborhood? That's a legitimate safety issue that could be easily and economically rectified. In closing, my 3 sons have a saying they use quite frequently. My moral compass points north. Well, mine does too. Where does yours point? Thank you.
Phil Olea, thank you, Kara. Phil Olea, Countryside Drive.
Thank you, Mayor. So I am Phil Olea at 101 Countryside. I'm actually the property that the roundabout was designed to be in. Not really sure why it was done that way, but it was done that way. The developer put his junction box on the corner of his property, so eminent domain, or he couldn't be encroached upon. So you saw some drawings about some extra $3 million project because of the utility boxes that are right there. It's funny, if you go down Drake's Creek, all the power lines are on the right-hand side. They go down their property. Until they get to the property, then they switch sides. They don't go down the property this way. They go this way. Most of Durham Farms is on this side of the street. So you guys are talking about spending some money. The mayor talked last night about, wasting a couple $100,000 of taxpayer money because this project probably won't go through. But then you see it again tonight. Not under the same name, but it was mentioned 18 times last night in the projects committee. Kind of amazing. You give it a different name and you rank it so high, but it's amazing. So, I'm sorry, I have a small print here, but most of you guys who go down Drake's Creek, from Eddie and Mark and such, this is where the traffic light is. It says slow down, coming from Durham Farms, headed towards the school. This is the area. Guess what? If you block this off, if there's a accident right here, see the telephone poles, see the trees, everything else? It takes 14.4 minutes to get to 477 Norman Way. Their standards. It takes 8.7 minutes to get to Miss Robinson's house, because the only way to get past this right here is to go to stop 30. You go all the way out and out. So it was mentioned last night about the little connecting roads and such. I don't think any people, many have given it much thought, but that's a good idea. You look at stuff, you look at the backside of, I guess for me, it's the fire department. And that should be like the most important. It's kind of funny though, because on all the projects that were done, like this one right here that was clearly the roundabout, it doesn't talk about safety. It talks about accidents. And so far we had in the zone, in the years that it was talked about, it was 2017 to 2020, there's 3 accidents. They were fender benders. One bumped into the other one because he rolled into him. Well, that was, So those are just statistics that are pushed. Alderman Collins asked a great question about being knowing about the financial aspect of what we get, what we were offered. If you go back and look at the drawings, there's the final that was proposed. You can see the drawing of the little roundabout that goes into my yard. And then you can see the bypass lane. Well, guess what? I have a water main right there on Countryside. So what you guys are doing is going way out here. However, the water main has to go past the temporary road even, which is closer to the house. So you're selling a house that has the water main all the way across the front. That wasn't there before. It was way out by the street. Now you're trying to go up there. I guess that part I would love for the city to be honest about and say, hey, the actual result of what this project might cost upon this resident is actually here, not the salesman pitch back here. Because think about it, there's a water main there. Can't be where it's at, has to go that way. Can't be around the round road, has to go on the temporary road, another 20 feet. So I guess that's what I'm asking for, is just being transparent about what's actually there. Because I've talked to the Jim Foster,
Mr. Leah, 30 seconds.
who has the property on the bottom. He hasn't signed anything. There's no promise of, he moved away. So anyway, kind of wondering why spending money that you don't have. One of those things. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Donna DeSopo, Chambliss Court.
My name is Donna DeSopo. I live at 101 Chambliss Court. I was hoping that we'd start off on the good foot. And then, of course, I have some wonderful people that I totally love, and I love a lot of you on this board because I support you too. And you've known me for a long time. I've been through quite a bit, and I didn't get off the couch because I had a lot of problems that happened in my own backyard. And if you're not involved with government, it does get involved with you, so I got involved. And I have some battles I've got to fight because you have to. You can't sit things out when it's not appropriate and it's either unethical or suspicious, not transparent. So here I see this resolution of, it's 18-21, and it really troubles me because we came to this podium and we said reasons to believe why that roundabout shouldn't be. You don't have the data to support it. Everything is contradictory to it. There wasn't enough research done. You all went into a session in the back, and some of the data I'd even had about how horrible it is for pedestrians and bicyclists that none of you even knew about. And the people don't want it. You can't force things that the people don't want, and you can certainly not steal people's property to get it. Doesn't make a good look for this city. It's a beautiful thing. We have such great citizens that do amazing things. And then we have to come to this podium to talk about things that are uncomfortable. But uncomfortable, yes, and must we talk about them? Because they can't continue. When you don't have a project in the queue and it's not approved, you can't be doing things like a cart before the horse. And I don't want my money used because now you're becoming like investors. You're buying land. I'm an investor too. But you're not going to take my money to invest in things that are not coming to pass. It's called, suspect. You're banking on something that is. And what is that we don't have the votes for this roundabout. And if you constantly push, it makes me suspicious too. So I have to raise some concerns. Look, project manager and land use consulting. Well, who are we working for here? It's very troubling to me. So I question, who is this for? Because when these things are pushed so hard, it makes me wonder, there's something in the queue that we don't know about that's forthcoming, that's going to benefit somebody else, whether it's land that's being purchased by someone else. We're going to do a rezone because there's other projects we don't even know about. But when things are pushed heavy and hard, and the way it's being done, it raises my suspicion levels, and it should raise all of yours. You can't vote yes on this. It's impossible. You can't take our money to do those things. Now, I also have Center Point Road. This has been a dangerous road for a very long time. In fact, Steve Brown was on this board, and as you can see in my email, I even asked Alderman Robertson on 9/18/24. I shared with him on February 16, 2018, regarding the safety of Center Point Road. We have constant crashes right outside my subdivision. You can't leave my subdivision. If someone had a heart attack, they won't get out in the morning and in certain hours. Center Point Road is a death trap. You all know it. So you can't use willful blindness, nice legal term. Somebody dies on Center Point Road, it is the city's responsibility to have fixed it. The inertia is troubling. And this push for the roundabout and a push to buy this land. Go fix Center Point Road. It's a long-standing problem. I've got the evidence right here. We also have streetlights. That was my big initiative. You all know that back in the day. That's what got me off the couch. You have the streetlight study. I keep asking, did all these people ever get their streetlights? They pay city taxes for things they don't have. That's taxation without representation. Please look at this list. Please let me know. I'm doing a formal public record request. Can someone please tell me who still doesn't have streetlights? We have money that needs to be allocated to things that are longstanding, haven't been done, and people suffer from it because these are blatant safety problems. People get harmed when things don't get done. If you were in the private sector and you let this inertia go on for years, you'd think you'd have a job? We have to raise the standard of government expectations. This inertia cannot continue. People's lives depend on it.
30
You can't
seconds.
be taking these people's land. How many times do we have to come here and say you can't do these things? It's beyond your purview, and I don't consent. Now let's make this city proud and do the right things. There's plenty to be done, and this ain't one of them. Do not buy that land. It's wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda, we don't have any items on the consent agenda. We're down to ordinance and resolutions. The first item is second reading of ordinance 2024-23. This is an ordinance amending budget ordinance 2024-08 to appropriate funds for the Eagle View project. I need a motion, please. We have a motion from Alderman Robertson. And a second from Alderman Garza. We did have, we let you know at our last meeting in December about an amendment. Alderman Robertson, you want to talk about that, or you want me to go ahead and bring that up now? Okay. So Tamara, our finance director, is passing you a sheet of paper that you saw 5 weeks ago. But Tamara, are there any changes, any updates on this? Is this the same as it was? It's the same as it was. Same as it was. Okay. So initially, we felt a need to amend the agenda for the Eagle View project. We have some money that the developer paid as a surety that he would do some work. The developer has not done that work. Multiple times we've tried to contact the developer to ask him to complete that work. We have, in some cases, been promised some things. In other cases, we haven't heard from the developer at all. So the main focus of this ordinance is to take the money that he provided, letter of credit, was that it, Sarah? A cashier's check that we held, and to use that money for the project. That may not cover the whole project, but there's also a couple other things in there we felt like, even though they didn't do with Eagle View subdivision, that we should go ahead and do now since those things have some urgency to them. Sarah, can you explain that better than I did? And maybe Tamara? So, and because of those additions that don't have, that are outside of Eagle View, we felt like we should even change the caption of this. And that's something I explained a couple weeks ago, that it would be inaccurate to continue with that caption as if this were for only Eagle View, yet we've got a couple projects that are outside Eagle View that I'm asking you to add to this amendment. So probably the best thing to do is turn over on the back of this and look at that table there, and we'll let Sarah go ahead.
So I'm going to speak on a couple of the items, and then Tamara will speak on a couple of the others that I'm not familiar with. But the Rockland Road signal was budgeted previously in prior years, and then this year those funds were not carried over, but they were intended to be carried over. We have a signed contract with a contractor. They're actually installing the equipment today and tomorrow, I believe. So it's important that we have the funds budgeted to honor the signed contract that we have.
Yeah, and I'll just add a little bit additional detail that this project was budgeted in fiscal year 24, last fiscal year, and that's when the contract was signed with the intention of having a purchase order issued by the end of the year, which would roll the funds into the new fiscal year. That wasn't done, and then we neglected to add it when we did our true up at the end of the year, so we've identified it and we need to catch that up. That's why that's coming forward now for that particular item.
In the cybersecurity grant.
The cybersecurity grant, the police department got awarded $45,000 to upgrade their cybersecurity network and information at the police department. They actually got awarded this back in July, and they
we didn't budget for it, so they need to have that budgeted. We've actually received the money, the dollars of the revenue has already been received. So we need to have the appropriation and the revenue budgeted so that we can pay the contractor for doing the work.
And the net impact on all these expenses and revenue items to the general fund is?
It'll be a use of $98,808 from the general fund. That is from developer fees. So those are restricted for use in that area.
So the impact on the general fund is?
Zero if you take the developer fees out of the mix.
Okay.
And then the other portion for the Rockland Road is proposed to be utilizing additional sales tax revenue coming into the PIP fund.
Okay. So, Alderman Sassy, did you want to talk about this? It's up to you if you want to talk about something else, but at some point we need to get to this amendment. I'll send it to you. Go ahead.
No, it's on this amendment. Just letting you know, the Finance Committee has a special call meeting today. We reviewed this, had all our questions answered, and we voted unanimously for this amendment.
Okay.
Or there was no vote, but the consensus was that we support this amendment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion that we amend the main motion with this sheet of paper right here. Okay, so we have a motion from Alderman Sassy. Do I have a second? And a second from Alderman Martin. Any discussion on this amendment? Alderman Robertson.
So will the, 94,000 be sufficient for the Eagle View project, Sarah? And if it is not, will we have to come back before the board for another budget amendment?
Yes, we would need another budget amendment. We don't quite know that amount yet. We will be, once this is approved, we'll be issuing a request for proposals for to design the entrance and do the permitting through TDOT. And so once we have those numbers and an opinion of probable costs, then we would request additional funding.
Will you know that by the mid-year budget review?
No.
What the cost would be,
Not by mid-year budget,
mid-year budget?
but I plan to have those numbers by our regular budget
Okay.
for fiscal year 26.
I just wanted to kind of get it all in but we don't know the amount. Okay, no further questions.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. Any other questions on this amendment? All those in favor of the amendment as proposed, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Now we're back on the main motion, which includes this amendment. Any other discussion? All those in favor of second reading ordinance 2024-23 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you all. Next, we're on resolution 2024-47. This is a resolution approving the agreed purchase and sale of right-of-way located at or near the junction of Drakes Creek Road, Avent Lane, Countryside Drive, and Anderson Road. Alderman Robertson. We have a motion from Alderman Robertson. Second. And a second from Alderman Garza. A couple things I want to say real quick, and then I know that Alderman Robertson and possibly Alderman Evans might want to say something. The reason that we went ahead and went forward with this it's really a testament to former Mayor Jim Fuqua. What is now Volunteer Park was a vacant piece of land for a long, long time, and the city, this is 2001, maybe 2003. The city was aware that there were some developers looking at that. The city was aware that at some point they would need a park out that direction, and so purchased the property, much bigger than what the city really needed at the time. But the city also knew that the longer they waited, the higher the price would go. And a lot of people were critical of Mayor Fuqua, but the board approved it. I think I was here then. I know Alderman Skidmore was, but the board approved it. And because the board approved it, a couple years later, the county came and said, we need to build a school out there. And y'all saved us a lot of money by doing that because y'all already purchased the property. So Burris Elementary, then Knox Doss is built there. Fortunately, we had that property, and we had 2 soccer fields out there for a little while, and now we have 2 inline rinks out there. And that was all because even though we didn't need the property right then, the city saw that it was going to escalate in price, and it made sense to go ahead and buy it, even though we didn't have a plan for what we were going to do with it. There are some similarities with these pieces of property and with that. And when you talk about fiscal responsibility, buying property before the cost escalates is about as fiscally responsible as you can get. Buying property when the price is negotiated before it goes up even more is, to me, is very fiscally responsible. And there was nothing sneaky about this. I'm honestly tired of hearing this. I'm very tired of hearing this. Every time that we have discussed it, it has been legally notified. If there's anything sneaky about it, it was the way that we were treated by the county, quite honestly, is that we asked to be on the agendas and we were refused. We didn't try to keep it from the agenda. We didn't try to keep people from showing up. There was nothing sneaky that we did about it, not at all. And it's difficult to hear that and to say that we failed at public notice. We're talking about buying a couple pieces of property from people that we have already negotiated a price with that are very willing to sell. That's what we're talking about here. With a possibility that could be used, very similar to Volunteer Park, with a possibility to be used, and by buying it now, it's before the cost goes up. I tend to side with fiscal responsibility over non-residents who criticize your integrity and accuse you of theft. Those are the people that I tend to side with. I tend to side with the people who are on fiscal responsibility, and a lot of those folks actually live inside the city. And I look at the folks in Durham Farms. We've all heard from them. We've seen them. They've been up here. Those are the people in Durham Farms, and they're residents. Those are the people I tend to listen to, not the people who accuse you of theft and accuse you of not having integrity. I listen to the residents who want us to do this because they see the benefits of that. Alderman Robertson, you want to go ahead? Thank you.
I do, thank you, Mayor. And yeah, we've been called tyrants. We've been called thieves, and it's disturbing. We have different points of view. I will guarantee this. To me, this issue has been settled. The board policy, by a vote of this board, by I think it was a 7-6 vote, that we do not proceed with the roundabout. To me, that issue is dead. You can continue to come and raise your concerns, but I'll promise you one thing. If there is a move to put it back on the agenda, Mr. Kimbrough, I will call you personally and let you know. Mr. Olea, I will call you personally and let you know. There's no sleight of hand here. There's no attempt for subterfuge or to try to get something in under it. There's really not. So now let me lay out the two reasons why I support this resolution. I'm getting to the age now that I see the real importance of life insurance. I see these commercials on TV, Mayor, of these people, well, I don't have any life insurance. Call this number and for 99 cents you can get $10,000 worth of life insurance. Well, I'm a firm believer in life insurance because I know one day I won't be using the proceeds, but someone will benefit from that. This resolution, in my view, is an insurance policy. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt, even though the roundabout is dead, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt we're going to have to make improvements at this choke point, what I call a choke point. Now, some people have said we need to put a stoplight in. Some people said a stop sign. The staff is working with a consultant to get more data. And they're going to bring back the recommendations on other alternatives. And when that happens, Mr. Kimbrough, I will give you a call. When that happens, Mr. Olea, I will let you know because I want you to be fully informed. It's not our intention ever to mislead or to try to hide something. So that's the first thing. There are practical applications for this. We know work's going to have to be done. There's a creek there, and one of the easements or two of the easements will help with stormwater management issues that could occur as more development happens upstream. So by purchasing these right-of-ways, we have better ability to deal with stormwater issues. So there are practical reasons. We're going to have to fix this one day, whatever that option is. We're going to have to fix it. But the second reason, Mayor, that I support this is from an ethical standpoint. I have reviewed one of the documents, Mr. Ray provided it to me, of a contract of a resident that had signed agreeing for a purchase price of his right-of-way. And there may not be a legal requirement that we follow through, but there is an ethical one, in my view. The city, through 2 budget readings, approved this project, so the staff was proceeding and the mayor was proceeding to implement the policy of this board. And as a result, they went out and gave the good name of this city. The city wants to purchase this property from you. And to me, your word is your bond. And so I think for fairness, we're not trying to purchase the property of Mr. Kimbrough or Miss Aaliyah. We're not trying to purchase that. We're trying to purchase property that we have a signed contract with people wanting to sell their land, and the city gave its word, we want to buy your land. So to me, there was an implicit contract there. May not be a legal requirement, but to me, it's an ethical one. So for those 2 reasons, Mayor, I support this, and I have a motion to make, if you would like a specific motion, because I agree with you. I don't want tax dollars to go for this purchase of right-of-way. I have found a way to purchase it without any tax dollars going to that. So there's no use of tax funds if my motion passes. Are you ready for the motion? So I make a motion to amend the Resolution 2024-47 that this be funded from the allocation contributions made by Durham Farms Development for off-site improvements. And by those agreements, we have to make off-site improvements near Durham Farms. There is sufficient funds to pay for that, out of that, so no tax dollars board is going to pay for this. Not 1 penny. It's coming from the developer fees that the city has in its, and if you question whether we have the authority to do that, I've talked to our city attorney, and I'm sure he can opine that it is all right, it is legal for us to use these funds for that. So with that, Mayor, I make that motion.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. We've got a motion. I hear a second down there. Alderman Evans, a second. And we're passing this out. Alderman Robertson, I appreciate you getting that prepared for us and having it in written form. Alderman Bergdorf on the amendment?
It's amendment adjacent. I don't know if we need to talk about that. It's about the whole project. But I guess, no, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Alderman Sassy, about the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I just had a quick question. So if we're changing the pathway of how this is paid, does it need to be an ordinance, or can it maintain as a resolution?
This is the money has already been allocated and appropriated, so.
Okay,
this would
that
be
was
a
my
res-
only question. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that.
I do have a question, Mayor. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Alderman Bergdorf.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sassy.
So when we're talking about the monies, the lump of money that the developer is given for allocations, improvements to this project, correct? Now, where is that money held? And what kind of contract and what kind of control have we got as a city over that money? What stipulations have we put on that particular pile of money?
Is that you, Tamara?
I think part of it is me.
Okay.
Okay.
We hold those money in reserve, and we track every time there's a project or something that's spent against them, and then we reduce the reserve to pay for those, so they're held aside. And then as far as the requirements and how it's stipulated.
For Durham Farms, it
Sarah
had,
may-
oh, go ahead, Sarah.
I'm gonna say Sarah might be able to answer that better than.
I don't recall the exact language, but they are to be used for improvements to Drake's Creek, specifically to the area in front of the entrance to Durham Farms, but could also be used for Drake's Creek Road widening, things like that.
And that's in a contract? Or is it a handshake agreement, or what is it? And can that be presented to us?
I
For
can speak,
review.
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was part of the ordinance 2013-43, I think it was, rezoning the property. It was part of the planning commission meetings, approving the final development plans, and it was on the final development plans. And it was just language that said contributions, dollar amount per household for off-site improvements. So that's generally how those
So it
contributions.
follows under the umbrella, this would fall under the umbrella of offsite improvements?
Right, yeah.
Okay, all
That's, so there's no like contract. It's, when there's a development, it's usually just a sentence on a final development plan that says this amount per household for off-site developments or stoplight or something like that.
Now, is that total amount still there? The total amount is still accounted for?
We've
And-
used some of it.
Okay, now, over the last 10 years at least, or what are we now, 12 years, has there been any interest accrued on that funding? And should that go to the offsite, to the pile? Or is it just what the city earns based on that income, 5% a year? And has that changed it at all?
I mean, there's interest earned on all of
Maybe
our
I might be
funds.
getting in the
Yeah.
weeds here. This is not necessary. Let's just,
Okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna, thank you, I'm finished.
okay. Alderman Bergdorf, thank you. Alderman Skidmore.
Yeah, we go back to the motion.
To the motion to discuss that, because that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just have a quick question about that. I'm just thinking of past subdivisions and developments within the city of Hendersonville that we've resolved or had discussions on when things need to be fixed within the subdivision. Let's say, in, I don't know, 10 or 15 years from now, the roads need to be resurfaced in Durham Farms for whatever reason, whether it be a wet weather spring that, that they paved over it and the water, because I've seen several of those when I've gone and visited, not only in my ward, but everybody's ward in the city of Hendersonville that I've been in. And then sometimes the city can use those funds that are in reserve right there that we're talking about this evening. Could those, if they were there, they could be applied where it wouldn't cost the city taxpayers money, but just that certain section of town, the Durham Farms, or the developers that had put money in, and they could use that for funding to help offset the cost of the road?
Theoretically, the original intent was for improvements
Right.
for the offset intersection, but theoretically, if there were remaining funds, that could be an applicable use.
Because
I would think.
we've done this before. And I don't know whether that we have together have done this on a project yet. I hope, that time comes, but I kind of hope it doesn't either, because that means the developer did its job and we're doing our job. But if theoretically that it happens, we're protected.
Yes.
That's why I have a concern about using all that money for just this one project, because what I have seen in the past is if you need a grade or a grate rather, or a road needs to be resurfaced, or if there is a drainage problem that storm water has nothing to do, let's say that the builder built a home and it's settled, and we start have drainage problems at that particular house, and it's really not our, it's not our fault. It just, it's one of those things that happens sometimes in the city of Hendersonville, unfortunately, and I hate that because I've seen that happen, and I know you have too. I have several in our district where we've seen that happen, and we've had to go back because some of the subdivisions have been so old that we did have to spend taxpayers' money. Excuse me, we did have to do that. So this is why I'm concerned to spend this all in one lump sum, because I really believe in the future they're going to require some kind of help. Not, that's just the life of a neighborhood. That's the life of a subdivision, and that's why those developers give us that bond money.
I can give you a real good example, one in, right off of Rockin' Road, and I had it in the tip of my tongue. Harbor Town's a great subdivision. It's really, they're exceptional people there. And you look at their roads, and I was just on there the other day, and I think I even called you guys and had it looked up to see. I don't know that I spoke to you, but I spoke to some, it might have been even in planning. I can't remember who it was. And they have there's no bond money left, you know, and I thought that, honestly, I thought there would be. I really did believe there would be, because they keep care of their property over there, and there's not. So I don't know, and I did not see if any former public works director had taken that money, because sometimes that happens. You take money, one to pay, and then it all washes out, and I know that happens, and that's good. I'm not saying that's good or bad one way or the other. I just know it happens, that sometimes they'll take money out, which I don't necessarily believe that that's proper, but it does. But you have good people like yourself that takes care of those things. But my point, I guess I'm trying to make is, and I don't know if you know this, or the mayor knows it, or if Eddie knows it, or if the city attorney knows it, is how much, and I was going to talk about this at the motion instead of the amendment. So what I'll do is the proper thing to do is to hold off and discuss that at the motion, but I would like to know how much money that they have out there, and I think I can ask that as a part of this amendment. That what money are we talking about that Alderman Roberson wants to talk about of taking that away and placing it towards the right of way?
So the amount that's requested in the resolution is $82,000.
Okay.
The amount in the account right now is roughly 600.
I heard 580.
It's around 600, maybe 580. It's around 600 somewhere, and that's not inclusive. That's in the account. That's not inclusive of all of the developer fees that have been paid in that are in a reserve that just haven't been appropriated to a project.
Well, my response, and then I'll just close, because there's a couple lights on, and I know they want to speak. Do we even know? Let's just say we needed to resurface, and we normally don't go in and just resurface the whole subdivision. You know, we'll take the major sections and serve, and then maybe next year we'll get 2 or 3 more streets and that kind of thing. And you may not even be able to say this, but what is the estimation of resurfacing the entire subdivision of Durham Farms? Would you know?
I don't know offhand.
Okay, I didn't think so, because I didn't give you enough time. That would be something that you'd, but you know, as brilliant as you are, I thought you might know.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Sorry to let you down there, but I don't know.
That's good recovery, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. All right.
So I don't know that we all heard the answer to your question. So how much is in the account right now?
Almost 600,000, I believe.
And we still have more houses that are going to be built that will be contributing to that.
That's just in the project account for Drakes Creek Road improvements. So that there are funds that have been paid into a reserve that have not been appropriated to the project account.
Above that 600,000?
So I guess go ahead, I'm sorry, and then I'll close.
Yeah, I believe in the reserve, we're right around 275, maybe 300,000. I can confirm the dollar amount, but
Okay, so 850, 900 total.
Somewhere in that range, yes, total.
Okay, good question, Alderman Skidmore.
Thank you, sir. And I'll just close with this. And I would tell this to the aldermen, and I know that you guys know this, especially that people that have to shop for your groceries for your family, who have to get gas and pay the electric bills and deal every day. That sounds like a lot of money, but I'm telling you, in the future, that's going to be a drop in the bucket for subdivisions and our taxpayers in this city. So I just want you to think about that, as opposed to having that money ready for those people and then not having it, or having a third of it gone for a right-of-way extension that never happened. I mean, for a piece of property that's just still vacant out there. So just think of that. You know, I'm not trying to sway your vote by any means. I just want you to really think about the cost of doing business out there and the cost of living, because that is important, I'm telling you. You know, what milk's like almost $4 a gallon now, and or $5 a gallon. There's no telling what it's going to be in 10 to 15 years. It scares the hell out of me, to be honest with you, when I think about it. Or look at what gas is going to go. You know, everybody was saying, well, gas is going to go down. Well, guess what? I went on Gas Buddy the other day to see where I could get the best deal, you know, and go there and get it, and it's up. And it's not going to go. I don't foresee it ever going down to 99 cents a gallon. Again, I don't see it. And electricity's the same way. You know, it's going to go up. It's just the cost of living that's going to be. And the city of Hendersonville and its residences, we're all in it together. And we're not going to lower taxes. We'll either be remaining the same or raising them. And those are, you know, two bad options, really. I'd love to see the taxes go down, but it's not going to happen. You know, even, well, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Skidmore, thank you. Alderman Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that I appreciate the transparency that Alderman Roberson and Mayor Clary has exhibited today. There is no plan, no precise plan for this land, and I understand that for reasons that Alderman Skidmore just mentioned. But is there anything we're leaning toward, Mayor? If we said we were going to use this for stormwater, what would that look like? Because that's what it says in our write-up for.
Yeah, I think where I come down more is, I feel like we made an agreement with some property owners, and we never told them that we're not going to go forward with the deal if your neighbors disagree. We never said that.
Okay.
We made an agreement.
Right.
with some
Okay.
folks.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Dixon. Alderman Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I wanted to, and I'm glad Sarah and Tamara that you mentioned this, was just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about, $82,000. And I know that that is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about upwards of, you know, almost close to $1 million when we're talking about all that. But I also wanted just to say something around the comment about these funds, and I live in Durham Farms, these funds were intended for improvements to the entrance there at Durham Farms. That's what we were told when we were buying the house. And so I don't want us to confuse those funds, if we using it for this right there, that it would be used in the future for roads, repaving of roads in Durham Farms, because the roads in Durham Farms should not be treated any differently than any other road within the city. So while we do have some funds set aside in a reserve for that entrance there and for something like that, it shouldn't be set aside for the roads in the future. It should be set aside for these kind of things or emergencies that might arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Evans. Alderman Collins, you haven't spoken yet.
Actually, are we still on the amendment? I
We
need
are.
to speak to the main.
Okay, I'll come back to
Sorry.
you. Alderman Bergdorf, on the amendment?
Again, amendment adjacent. So may I just ask just a question of Sarah?
Sure.
Do we have, does the city have is it required for the city to purchase
We need
a piece
electronic.
of property to make stormwater improvements on it?
No, it's not required to purchase the property.
Okay, thank
But
you. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
much of the property that we're discussing is actually in the floodway. And so there could be benefit to having ownership of that. We could accomplish the same thing in an
But if it's deemed necessary to
easement.
make the changes and to improve the stormwater system there, we have a temporary easement perhaps? Is that the term to use? And then do the work and then return it, correct?
That's an option.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, so you've got the amendment in front of you. Jason, you ready for us? All those in favor of the amendment from Alderman Robertson, you can see in the highlighted text, press the green button. Those opposed, press the red one. Missing somebody. Alderman Ward. There we go. So that passes 10-3. Those voting in favor, hold on, Jason. Alderman Ward, Sassy, Garza, Dixon, Goodwin, Garten, Collins, Robertson, and Evans. Those opposed, Alderman Bergdorf, Skidmore, and Martin. So we're back on the main motion. So remind me this. We've got somewhere around $850,000, $900,000 in that fund. We've got, I'm sorry, Alderman Collins.
Oh, if you would like to speak, that's fine.
It may not make as much sense as what you're about to say.
I doubt it. I have some questions about the use and the amount of land that we're buying, which I think are best for Sarah to help me understand. One of the comments made during citizen comments is that we would be buying more property than needed to widen the road, or at least that's what I think was said. I don't want to misquote anybody, but to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the resolution says future transportation needs and stormwater. I would like to know, what is the most likely future transportation need? It seems to be widening, perhaps adding a turn lane. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly right now. As Alderman Robertson stated, we put out an RFP for another design consultant to perform an analysis and give us recommendations and pros and cons of various options. So we've just received those proposals. We're reviewing those now. Offhand, I would say at a minimum, if we're not pursuing the previous project that shall not be named, I would say probably additional turn lanes on Avant Lane and Drakes Creek Road, possibly Anderson. I would say at a minimum to provide additional capacity for the volume of traffic.
So I don't know if you can see the map that we have, but owner number 1, to me, it seems like a very large.
Page 21.
Okay.
The yellow owner number 1, it seems large. Do you have any idea how much of that land you think we would use? Will it be enough? Not enough? Too much?
It probably would be more than what would be needed for widening. But I don't know by how much.
When do you expect to have the designs back from the consultant?
We're reviewing now, contracting, probably take about a month, and then evaluating for budget to see, what that looks like. And then the analysis and recommendations probably at least 3 months, probably a little longer. So at least 4 months, I would say.
Okay. Is there a stormwater, this is my last question for you, I promise. Is there a stormwater situation conceivable out there in the future, in the future of the whole world, that you could not handle with a temporary easement for this area?
Not that I can think of.
Thank you. Tamara, I have one question for you. Assuming that this design that Public Works is working on is back to us and evaluated in a 3-month time span, which, we all know that means 6. Love you, Sarah, but, but let's say it is 3. Is there the potential, is it an option to have it in the next year's fiscal budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For me, I'm willing to wait until the next year's fiscal budget to buy the appropriate amount of land that coordinates with a plan that we have vetted. So I came in here tonight thinking I wanted to do this, but I've changed my mind. It feels like overkill, and maybe spending a little bit more than is strictly needed. I still would support buying the appropriate land out of the funds for Durham Farms, but I think it can wait a few months. And I do understand what everyone is saying about, well, we made an offer, we need to honor it. But for me, deals fall through. That's just part of, you know, you make an offer, it doesn't happen. I don't feel morally responsible to reward people when negotiations didn't work out in the end. To me, this is just, I don't feel it's a moral issue at all. Thank you.
Alderman Collins, thank you. Alderman Garten.
I wanted to confirm, because I don't see it in here anywhere. The property that we're looking at purchasing for $82,000, it's owner 1, owner 3, and owner 5. Is it all 3 of those?
Lance, do you have that?
That's correct.
Okay,
It is?
thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Garten. Let's see if everybody's spoken already. We'll go to Alderman Sassy.
Thank you. I just, you know, on the amendment that we just passed, I have a feeling that we would have used those funds anyways. So to me, it was not that big of a deal. So that's why I voted for it. I think it's important that we keep the money that has been provided by the developer where it belongs, and that's at Durham Farms and at some sort of project here. However, I honestly, Alderman Collins hit the nail on the head for me. She said, it's like you were in my brain, I think. It is scary, isn't it? Yeah. Get out of there, like a little earwig in there. We don't know what we're doing with this area yet. And I would feel much better with a plan in front of us and knowing exactly the land that we needed to purchase before we approved purchases. And I appreciate that we made offers, but like Alderman Collins said, you know, when you're purchasing, when you're buying a house for sale, and you sign a contract. Well, you go through the inspection, go through the process. Maybe you're not able to get the funding for it, and the contract falls through. There's no repercussions to that. There's no consequence. You may lose your earnest money, maybe, not usually if it's something that's in the contract, right? So I don't see any issue with moving forward, releasing this for now until we have a plan in place. I've spoken many times, and I think it's very important that we do something here. Traffic is an issue here. I did not believe in the roundabout, and I appreciate this board did not appreciate the roundabout as well. And I thank you for voting that down. I don't think it was the right option, but there's got to be an option. We got to do something in this area, and I'll do whatever it takes to take the lead, even if I need to make sure something happens here. But until we have an actual plan, I don't think it's right for us to be purchasing land for it. That's all. Thank you.
Alderman Robertson.
Yeah, just briefly, the property of owner 1, if you look at your map, that comes out Avant, and one of our citizen comments, maybe at the last meeting, talked about the traffic caused by the rugby fields that were even coming down his street. So this property at owner 1 could very well be used to improve the access of Avant onto Drakes Creek. You know, I just, again, I just wanted to make that point that as these parks become more and more used, there's going to be more and more traffic coming out Avant, and that landowner one would be very, very valuable to help the ingress and egress on Avant Road. And again, as Alderman Evans said, I think we need to honor the word that we had with Durham Farms residents, that the money that they paid into the city, this impact fee or a voluntary impact fee, was made under the premise that it was going to improve the entrance there. So again, I would hate to use that money. I'm not aware of us using impact fees or developer fees to pave city roads, and these are all city roads now. But I appreciate that argument, so that's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Robertson. Alderman Evans.
Just want one more thing. If you look at the map and if you look at where owner one is and the city property that's blue, and it kind of goes along with Alderman Robertson, the fact that this could be for the future of the turning on to Avant, because not only do you have the rugby fields back there, but you have future fields back there on another 75 acres that have been donated by the Durham Farms Development for future fields, for soccer and all. And we have to be thinking about that as well. And I think that taking an opportunity here, especially when you have owners that are willing to sell, I do see a path where we can use this property, and at the same time, we're honoring the agreement. I'd like to see us move at least on people who have been willing to sell their property. I'd rather us move on that, get those done, get those taken care of, and not wait. Just my opinion.
Alderman Evans, thank you. Alderman Skidmore.
Yeah, just in closing, just about 3 or 4 comments, short comments, not very long. Did we, because I cannot recall this happening, did we go to them about the property, or did they come to us about selling the property? Do you know, or does anybody know?
We approached the property owners.
Okay, so we approached them, they didn't come to us. Okay, then maybe, okay. The other thing I want to say something, and I'm sure that one day this will be used politically against me, maybe not, and I don't mind it because I'm here to defend it, and if I need to defend it, I'll be glad to. But I'm going to tell you, anybody that's in the audience tonight and is watching TV and seeing this, I want to say this clear. I'm not here to honor any developer that comes before this board when they're trying to sell their project to me. I'm not going to honor what they want in the future in terms of, because if they knew, and I'm not saying names, but if one of the aldermen knew this, that they knew one day they were going to require this to be developed, I would be mad as a hornet, because they should have told us, because there was something that we could have done on the back end, or maybe even on the front end, to have that developed. So I'm going to say right now, that upsets me, that whether there was knowledge upon this board that knew that, or if the developer knew it, and we're trying to honor something for them. I'm not going to honor that. Are you kidding me? They're up here trying to sell us houses for the city. They're selling us more traffic. They're selling us more homes, more congestion. And then I have to go back and sell that to Ward 1? No. I have to go back and sell that to other people in the community? I'm not going to do that. If it's a good deal for the city, then it's a good deal for the developer. That's the way I see development within the city of Hendersonville. That's just the way I see it. And I'm not going to go and vote for something that I don't think, and I've been criticized for some of the things that I've voted. In fact, I was hearing tonight the mayor and Alderman Robertson have been called all those mean names. Lord, if you want to know what mean names are, after the meeting, I can come and tell you some mean names that I've been called, and that my mother has been called when she served as an alderman, and even after that. But it doesn't. That's okay with me. I don't get upset. I used to when I was 22 years old. I used to wear my heart on my sleeve. But during the Osbrook administration, I tuned that out real quick and saw what Hendersonville politics is all about. So it doesn't bother me. But my point is, I don't want to do that. The only other question is that they didn't make the agreement, and I'm not sure this board ever made an agreement with these people. I think it was the administration, and which is okay. I don't have a fault with the administration for doing that, because he's doing his job. The city attorney's doing his job, and possibly the alderman in Ward 6. I don't know that. I have no knowledge of that. Maybe they're doing their job. The mayor maybe approached them. I don't know, and I'm not criticizing that. But the point is, as far as including the amendment, because it passed, I just cannot see taking that money out, because I'm telling you that in the future, Durham Farms, and I do not blame the people at all with this, because if I was them, I would be doing the same thing. They're going to be coming to the city that they need things when they have potholes in their streets, when the grades have fallen down, when in the paving where you hit your tire and you ruin your tire and your rim. That's expensive. And then they're going to be coming for the money, and we're going to say, I'm not going to say this is going to happen, but it has happened in the past. We don't have the money. That's happened. I'm telling you, I've sat in Ward 3's chair and in this chair when I've had to tell people, well, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, we don't have the money. We'll put it in next year's budget and see if we can acquire the votes to pass. No matter how much money you have, I've seen it, and I hope that it never happens to them as long as I serve on this board, because it's the hardest thing to say to people that you don't have the money when you've got what's our budget now? What, $60 million? But you don't have a budget to fix something that's a problem that was either caused by the development community when they were resurfacing the road or making the road, and it was maybe just a little more thin than it was supposed to, because they've got costs themselves. And it amazes me when we talk about things like this. And I understand this. What is the development community in the business for? Making money. That's where they put food on their plate for their family. I understand that, but don't go being cheap on the people of Hendersonville and the future homeowners of the city of Hendersonville. I don't approve of that. And I think what we're doing here is spending the money on some that is the future of what you think it is. I don't see the future as buying almost $100,000 worth of property out there. Not right now. I don't see it. Now, maybe when the people that work for you, Sarah, are coming out and they said, we've got a plan, and the plan looks like it's workable, I'll go along with it. I don't have a problem with that. But because this right here, you're purely speculating. You're saying at owner one right here, when you're going into the rugby field, we don't know what the traffic is out there, because it's brand new, man. It's brand new. We got to wait a while to see how many more people are going to be involved in rugby as opposed to now, because we don't know. We could project. But anyway, that's how I feel about the motion. I'm against the motion as it is tonight. I think we probably can revisit this in the future. I have no doubt about that we can, but we've got to look at everything, man. We've got to look at every avenue to try to help the people that live out there. And that's how I feel this evening. And I thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to speak.
Alderman Skidmore, thank you. Thank you. Alderman Collins.
I do have an additional question, I think for Tamara, probably. How much did we spend on appraisals? Oh, that's Sarah, sorry.
No, that's fine. The most recent round was roughly right around 9,000 a tract
Okay.
for an appraisal and then an appraisal review.
All together, not each.
Each tract.
So we spent $45,000 on appraisals,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about purchasing $82,000 worth of land.
That's 3 properties. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for those 3 properties, we would have spent
Roughly 18,000.
on the
I'm sorry,
appraisal.
sorry, 27.
27
Yeah.
on the appraisals. We might have to spend it again to do more appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances that that any of the plans that are being worked on will need more land than this?
I won't let us, not until the board makes that decision will the staff spend another minute on this project. We wasted way
With
too
the
much money.
design that's gone out for bid, I'm saying, like, is there a chance that more land than what we potentially would be buying tonight would be needed, and we would need to do new appraisals in that instance?
We're using the current appraisals to offer the money. We're not
I
spending any
understand.
more time on
But
another
if we
design.
said, if we don't do that tonight, we have a design, a request for proposal for a design for something other than a roundabout. When that comes in, is there a chance that we would need to go back to property owner number 3 and buy more, or property owner number 4, or I think I might be getting the wrong property owners on here, but any of the 3 property owners that we would be purchasing from today and purchase additional land that's not part of this?
There's the possibility we could need land all up and down Drake's Creek Road, and this sort of goes back to the conversation last night, is that we're not wasting any more money moving forward with this project until the board says that they're willing to go forward with this project. And it might be a roundabout, it might be widening Drake's Creek Road, it might be a turn lane. We're not spending another second of staff time, because we've wasted way too much money already.
But we have a request for proposal for a design.
And that's where it stops. We won't go forward with anything else.
Okay, well, I guess I'm back. I was thinking things through and thinking maybe I was about to change my mind about it, but I feel we need to wait until we have that design back for me to feel comfortable with it.
Thank you, Alderman Collins. Alderman Robertson.
Sorry, so I want to understand, Sarah, we have asked a third-party traffic engineering study for this intersection and to come with options. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the request that we advertised for.
And we're doing a traffic study. We were criticized that we didn't do a traffic study the first time. This time, we're going to do a traffic study. We're going to do a red light, what are they called? Warrants, a warrant for red lights.
Yes.
So it's the whole kit and caboodle we're going to be looking. And with this project, I think number 2 or 3 on the transportation list, priority list, Mayor, hopefully those options that this new firm provides us, I don't know if it'll go to Public Works or if it'll go to what committee, but hopefully we'll be able to see those and then rethink this whole idea. Is there a better option to go at this time? So I agree with you. At one of our meetings, property owner 5, I believe, had agreed to sell some of the land, but she said, I'm finished with the city because you've said this and this and this, you've promised this, and so for her, the city's word meant nothing. And that hurt. I mean, yeah. And so what I'm afraid of is if we don't move forward with what we have a signed agreement with, is that in the future, these people say, well, hey, I've been down this road before. I'm not dealing with y'all folks because y'all aren't dependable. We can't count on you. But again, we're going to have to do appraisals again. So, Mayor, did I say anything that was not correct? I mean, hopefully when this new study comes out and all the traffic engineering studies and traffic studies, we'll be able to see that and then, have a discussion on this alternatives for this.
So you're fine. My frustration is that I have said so many times that we are not spending any more resources on this, and I still get accused of being a tyrant and pushing this down people's throats. I want to be very, very clear that I am following the board's will, just like I followed the board's will when they told us to go forward with this project. So, thank you, Alderman Robertson. Alderman Bergdorf.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to follow-up question on what Chairman Alderman Robertson said. What is the total cost going to be when we're finished with this? Because we already have we're paying another set of consultants, correct? Okay. And we were told we were not going to spend any more money on this. Is this the last of it? We're going to pay the consultants to see what they come up and tell us, correct? I'm sorry. I'll address it to you then. Yes, ma'am. We're going to pay the consultants and see what they come up and tell us, correct?
That was my understanding.
Okay, great. So and I'm sorry, we may have beat this dead horse already, but how soon do you think we'll get the reports from the consultants?
Minimum 4 months.
4 months.
Probably
So
6.
I think that it would be prudent of us to go ahead and wait to see what the consultants have to say regarding this plans. I appreciate the fact that we don't want to spend any more money. To that end, I do not support this particular amendment, even with the 82 coming out of the Durham Farm funds. I agree with the mayor. I don't want to spend any more money.
Thank you, Alderman Bergdorf.
Thank you.
Alderman Skidmore, the worst name I'm going to call you is friend. Okay. You have to live that down someday. And so, yeah. You and I disagree a little bit about paying developers. I don't feel we're paying developers. We're paying we're paying residents. These are people who live in Hendersonville. These are people who had every reason to believe that we were going forward. That might be our fault. That might be somebody else's fault. But we're talking about residents here, not developers. We're talking about 3 property owners. And repeatedly, I come back to the word integrity. We heard that from a previous speaker when we started this conversation on this item. We heard that from some of our speakers who don't live inside the city, one that doesn't even own the property. And Alderman Robertson, you put it very, very well that we were criticized by the way we treated somebody 7 weeks ago. And that's hard. It's hard to hear from people you can't trust the city. But it's also hard to hear when somebody says they're going to work on an alternative plan, and then they criticize us for not coming up with an alternative plan. I mean, right after this failed a couple months ago, I was told that somebody on this board is going to work on an alternative plan. And now we're hearing, why hasn't the city come up with an alternative plan? Well, there's an integrity issue there. And so I'm going to side with the people who have integrity, and I hope that includes our city. And as the resident over there questioned ours, we need to fix that, and we need to pay her and the other 2 property owners what we've agreed to. So I'm the last speaker. So Jason, are you ready for? Okay. So all those in favor of Resolution 2024-47 as it's amended, please press the green button. Those opposed, press the red one. So that fails 5-8. Those voting. Oh, Jason, can you get it back? Do we need to vote again? Okay, there we go. Nope, that was the previous one. Jason, we're fine to vote again if we need to. Please vote now. Okay, those in favor, press the green button. Those opposed, press the red one. So that fails 5-8. Let's call the roll. Annette's going to call the roll. Hopefully it'll come out 5-8.
Bergdorf. No. Collins. No. Dixon. No. Evans. Yes. Garten. No. Garza.
Yes.
Goodwin. No. Martin. No. Robertson. Yes. Sassy.
No.
Skidmore.
No.
Ward.
Yes.
Clary.
Yes. So that fails 5-8. We're on to the next item, other agenda items, the appointment of Management Review Committee Chair. So we need to appoint a fifth person to the Management Review Committee, and that person in this situation is the chairman. The other four members are the chairman of the four standing committees. Alderman Goodwin.
I'd like to nominate Alderman Dixon.
So does not require a second. Alderman Collins, I had mentioned in a previous meeting that I was willing to nominate you. Are you interested in that?
I don't want to put us in a position to vote against each other like that, so.
Okay. So
I think that either one of us will do a wonderful job, but certainly Alderman Dixon will do a wonderful job.
appreciate that. Any other nominations? All those in favor of Alderman Dixon, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Next, we're on to the appointment of Nick Ivy to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The reason that we're taking Nick out of order, really this should come up in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I can't remember, is that our Board of Zoning Appeals is only 5 members. We currently have one person who has resigned, and we only had 3 people at the last meeting, and that's a quorum. So I feel like we need to get, to get Nick Ivy on there quickly, because they do have a meeting before we would appoint him otherwise. So, somebody make a motion for me?
So moved.
So we have a motion from Alderman Garza to appoint Nick Ivy to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and a second from a second from Alderman Garten. Any other discussion? All those in favor of Nick Ivy being appointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Now we're on to brief committee reports. Chairman Garza, General Committee.
Yeah, we met tonight, mostly for discussions of upcoming motion in the city to improve some of our things. We also addressed an item close to Ward 3, obviously, and that's vacant buildings. So we'll see more of this going forward. That's it.
Chairman Garza, thank you. Chairman Goodwin, Public Safety.
On there, one was from the police department to change their rank structure from MPO to FTO that we will be sending to BOMA with a positive recommendation. And also the SAFER grant for the fire department, will be sending that through to BOMA with a positive recommendation. That was all.
Chairman Goodwin, thank you. Chairman Sassy, Finance.
Yes, we had a special called Finance Committee meeting today where we discussed the item that was on our agenda and was voted on, which was include the ordinance 2024-23, which was the amendments to the budget. And as I mentioned earlier, we had the consensus was we all approved it. It passed unanimously tonight, so that was the end of our meeting. Thank you.
Chairman Sassy, thank you. Planning Commission, Alderman Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. On January 7th, we had a fairly brief meeting. We didn't have any active projects. We did have some projects on the consent agenda, or 3 projects which all passed. The first was the McCarroll Retail site plan submittal. That's at 700 West Main Street. It's a 6,000 square foot single-story multi-tenant commercial building, pretty straightforward. We had the TriStar Hendersonville Medical Center temporary kitchen, also on the consent agenda. That passed. Everybody knows where that's at. And then the Windcrest Moon Nursery Commercial Plaza, that's the nursery at 1065 Saundersville Road. That's the project where we laid a lot of stipulations on what they could and couldn't do. And they came back with the site plan and included everything that we had asked for. And they even included the stipulations on the plans themselves. And they did include the center lane, center turn lane for the project, which is critical for the trucks, so that they don't block traffic going both ways. Staff level projects approved, Stonecrest Phase 5 FDP amendment. Staff level projects that we're still looking at, Broken Paddle Outfitters, Front Porch and Whataburger Parking Lot Addition. That's in between the two businesses. Hendersonville Football Stadium is in the queue. Hidden Lake Phase 2 and Phase 5. Indian Lake Forest Section 1, Noakes Addition, and Patsy Curtis property, TriStar, Hendersonville Medical Center parking lot, and then Walmart. We also had an election of the officers, and everybody kept their original position from last year. And included in the notes is the 2024 year-end report, which shows the volume of all the activities that we had. If anybody wants to get a copy of that, just reach out to me and I'll share it with you. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Martin, thank you. Capital projects, Chairman Robertson.
Thank you, Mayor. Got some great news. Capital projects met last night, and we moved forward on a transportation plan, a long-term transportation plan. This plan, if I may describe it, is data-driven and results-oriented. We approved last night in a motion the 3 goals of the transportation plan is to reduce congestion across the city, improve safety, and improve circulation, traffic circulation. A total, I think, of about 35 or 36 projects have been identified by the staff, and I'm sure more will be identified, and each of those will be ranked according to the following. They will be a weighted ranking criteria for safety, city cost, ease of construction, traffic count, traffic flow, and location of critical facilities. Just to highlight two of the projects on the list that the staff has come up with. One deals with Center Point Road improvements, and another one deals with the Mansker Creek Bridge replacement. So this project list covers every ward of what the staff has determined is needed to be addressed within the next 10 years. So this will be on the agenda, I believe, Mayor, the next meeting for us to approve. Once that approves, this will be the guide that the city staff and hopefully the mayor will follow when applying for GNRC grants, when putting forth a budget. Use this criteria and these objectives to come up with a list of priorities for the city. So it's real exciting. This city has never done this. This city has been reactive in its addressing of traffic problems. This is an attempt to be proactive. And I appreciate the Capital Projects Committee voting unanimously for this last night. And I look forward to a discussion in 2 weeks of this when it comes before you as a resolution. Thank you, Mayor.
Chairman Robertson, thank you. The next item is Bowman report. You've got that in your packet, and then after that, we have an executive session. This could take a few minutes. So it's just the 13 of us and our city attorney. We'll go to the conference room right next door. No.
What do we have? Executive session? What does that mean? It means a lawsuit. Usually a legal matter.
Jason, are we back on? Okay. Alderman Ward, would you like to make a motion?
Who?
Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Alderman Evans, would you like to second that? A second from Alderman Evans. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passed unanimously. We're adjourned. Thank you all.